business technology. Your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome into game night right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140. Kings and Mavs, game 3 of this 4-game road trip. It's also game 3 of the series between the Kings and the Mavs. Sacramento looking for a sweep of Dallas. And boy, how big would that be right now? The Western Conference standings are all bunched up. The Kings, they could get as high as 6 right now. As you look at the standings, 6 through 10, there's not much separating all of these teams. And of course, Sacramento getting the job in Houston, sweeping the Rockets this year. And that was a big time win with Sabonis going down early in that game, High Flyer.
Yes, it was. I mean, and a very impressive win because the Houston Rockets are a good basketball team. They have showed that, they can go out and they can beat some of the big time teams. They can go on nice runs. So for the Kings to go in there and be so-called undermanned, no Sabonis, and still be able to pull out that game the way that they did, that was very impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive indeed. And to sweep the Rockets this year, that's good. I know the Rockets are struggling right now, but that's still a quality win.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, definitely a quality win. And especially when you're looking at what's all going on in the West. Right now, it's really a log jam 6 through 10. And for the Sacramento Kings to really be aiming at that 6th position, Scott, it's still doable. As many games as the Kingston dropped and the oopsie games and the almost, okay, we're going to flush that one. All those games that the Kings have had, the 6th spot is still obtainable.
It's just a half game out. The Kings come into this game 31-28. They've won 3 straight. They are a half game behind Minnesota, 33-29. The Warriors, 32-28. They lost in Philadelphia on Saturday night. That was pretty remarkable. Quentin Grimes going for 44 in that game. Mm-hmm. And the Clips are also 32-28, technically ahead of the Warriors at this moment. But again, it's all there for the taking.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's right there. But Scott, this is the type of time to where you really, really have to hit a heater because you have no room to slip. And the Kings can get there, but they definitely have to take care of what they need to take care of. They can't be relying on somebody else to help them out.
No doubt. All right. We'll be with you until 5 o'clock tonight, getting you ready for Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross will be here with the High Flyer for that 5:30 tip-off in Dallas. And again, a team in a city that's still trying to process everything that has gone down there since the trade of Luka Doncic. We'll talk all about it. We'll take your phone calls as well, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us 916-339-1140. We're up and running in our YouTube chat as well. We'll be talking there throughout the breaks. Please join us at Sacktown Sports on YouTube. As for the game on Saturday, again, it's pretty scary early on. Sabonis immediately grabbing for that left hammy. Mm-hmm. And the one thing you never see from Domantas Sabonis is him walking towards a locker room.
Straight towards the locker room. You
just never, ever see that happening.
That's when you know it's serious. I mean, this guy has fell down. He's been slapped in the face, poked in the eye. He loses contacts on a daily, elbows to the chin, the whole shot, and don't ever think about coming out the game. When he got up, he walked straight past.
He knew.
Past the bench, straight to the locker room. So that lets you know that it was something serious.
Yeah, he knew something was up. And so the reports come out. It's a grade 1 hamstring pull, reevaluated in a week. So we'll see on the timeline for that. But obviously that is something that is utmost concerning. As we know with hammies, they tend to take longer than shorter to fully heal. Yeah.
And, we just got through talking about how crucial this time is. Yeah. And thank God. I mean, whatever happened and however the stars aligned and
Valanciunas has come at the right time.
Man, I mean, a guy that, he won't be Sabonis, but he can definitely be a plus out there for you. He could be a guy to where you're not losing a lot. You might lose some, but you're not just straight dead in the water when Sabonis is not in the game.
No doubt. I mean, the Kings have a presence inside without Sabonis, and we could not have said that just a couple of weeks ago.
And you know, Scott, to keep it 100 with you, if you really put, you know, the rubber to the road, I think JV is a much more solidified low post threat than Sabonis. If they really want to utilize him and put him down in that low post, there's not too many centers around that could do something with him.
No doubt. I know you've been calling for that for a while.
I've been begging for it because, you know, we're talking about him in a sense now being a starter.
Yep.
And we're saying utilize him. This dude is going up against second-tier centers when Sabonis is in the game or when Sabonis is available to play. There's no second-tier center in this league that's going to do anything with that dude. So why don't you utilize him?
No doubt. Valanciunas, he should be in a Gladiator movie, you know? I mean, his build, man, he just looks like he's right out of ancient Rome, right in the Colosseum, man.
I break you. I mean, he's a big dude. I give him that.
Amazing. And his line was amazing on Saturday, too. Came in 15 points, 14 rebounds, 3 block shots, and 4 steals.
Scott, like I said, I'm not going to compare him to Sabonis, but that's a solid night when you look at the 5 position. I don't care what basketball team you look at. If you got a big guy on your roster that's giving you those type of numbers, you'll take it every night.
Yeah, life is good. Now, he did give up 30 and 10 to Sengun, who had a good game as well. But just having that presence where you can score with your big man, it really changes the equation for the Kings.
And you really have to look at how Sengun is scoring. He must have shot about 15 free throws.
That's true. He was 10 of 17 from the line.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is not a great percentage, but he made a lot.
Exactly. He went to the line so many times because they utilize him.
True.
They give him the ball and say, go to work. Can you imagine that we did the same thing with JV? And check this out. JV shoots over 80% from the free throw line.
Yeah, and to your point, Valanciunas went to the line 1 time.
It's a win-win. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get that guy, think about it. He had those numbers. If you get him to the line 10 times, well, he would have had 32.
Yeah. No, he could have gotten there for sure. The other thing that was fun to watch was the little mix-up between DeRozan and Brooks. You know, because normally Brooks is the guy who comes in and gets under the other team's skin.
He does. And he did.
A little bit, but I think DeRozan won that battle on Saturday.
What? D is a veteran. He is a veteran. He's not going to let it linger. He's going to say what he has to say. Y'all going to bump, do whatever you got to do. This is how I feel about it, but he's going to get back to the game.
Yeah.
See, a lot of guys, they get into that mode now. All of a sudden, it's all about Dylan Brooks.
Right.
You know, DeRozan's not going to play that game. He's like, you know what? I said what I said, and I'm going to stand on it, but let's get back to this game.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think Brooks was affected a little bit by it. He had a subpar game, just 12 points. He was 4 of 13 from the field. DeRozan doing his thing, another 20-plus point game. I mean, I think if anything, that equaled itself out.
But, Scott, that's what Dylan does. You know, he wants to affect the game any way he possibly can. So if you're struggling on the offensive side, you can't affect the game that way. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, you know, let me get a little boisterous. Let me get a little handsy because now I'm about to try to get up under your skin and throw your offensive game off. He's a smart player, bro. You know, that's why he's going to always be on somebody's roster. You don't like him when you got to play against him, but when he's on your team, he's the guy that you love.
No doubt. And, of course, Zach LaVine getting more comfortable with every game. He had 20 points. And how about for LaVine? He got named Western Conference Player of the Week.
Nice.
His first time ever.
Nice. I mean, Zach is starting to look more comfortable out there on the floor, Scott. When you see him come off screens, you see him get the ball. He's starting to understand where and when and how. You know, we always talk about time, pace, and score. Those are things that have to come to you. You don't automatically have that, especially when you're changing to a whole new system with whole new teammates.
No doubt. And I mean, think about that. I mean, LaVine gets it on a week where Luka's national attention, LeBron, you got Steph going for 56. I mean, that's a pretty nice accomplishment.
It is. It is. That goes to show that, you know, you're playing big time ball. What you're doing is being noticed. You know, I'm surprised because, you know, usually the league just want to look right over Sacramento. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to say anything that's going on nice in Sacramento. So for him to get that honor, that was great.
Yeah, that's pretty darn cool. The other thing, with Sabonis going out, the Kings announcing they've signed Skal Labissière to a 10-day contract. He'll be up with the Kings.
Okay, they've been bringing Big Skal up.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say this, Scott. I thought Scal was a decent player when we had him the first time. I thought Scal did some nice things out there on the basketball floor. I will say this. Scal is not a center.
Yeah.
He won't ever be a center. He's not that size. He don't have that type of strength. But I will say this. I think he's a very nice stretch four.
Yeah.
Because he can shoot. He can handle. He can pass. He's a guy that will be able to help you. With that being said, I think Isaac Jones. Now, when we talk about being a center or a big guy that's going to lay a little wood, I think IJ need to get the call.
It's interesting. I mean, because, Isaac hasn't been with the Kings for a while. He's been down in Stockton. Hasn't seen any run with Doug Creasy. That's the one thing, Keon Ellis has gotten more run since DC's been interim head coach. Isaac Jones is the one who's fallen out of the rotation, for sure.
And then let me ask you this, because IJ got a two-way, right?
Yeah.
How many games is it coming up?
True. That's something you have to look at and consider.
That might be a big thing too. How many games he has coming up to where, he can only play so many in the league.
Yep. Great point on that one. It'll be interesting to see if Scal gets any run,
At the stretch four?
He hasn't played an NBA game in 5 years.
Like I said, I don't think the young man's a five.
Yeah.
If we're going to put him there, okay, he's long, he can grab rebounds, but as far as, being something special down on the defensive side, I don't see it happening at the five position. But if you're going to play him at the four, I think he can give you some good minutes.
All right. I mentioned Keon's name. We got to talk about him. Saturday might have been his best defensive effort of the year, and we've seen some pretty good ones from him. 5 steals Saturday night.
Keon just continues to impress. Offensively, defensively, his basketball IQ is growing. We have had a chance to really witness him grow as a basketball player. He came here. He wasn't drafted. He came here as a free agent, played in the summer league a couple of years, excuse me, got sent down to the G League, then got the two-way, and then got extended to a solid contract. I just love to watch the maturation of this young man, because nothing was given to him. He had to bust his butt to get everything that he's accomplished. And right now, he's still taking off like a rocket.
Yeah, he's been incredible. And obviously, he's benefited, you have to say, since Doug has taken over, because he's getting consistent minutes. And he's feeling good about his role.
Whenever you get in a place, Scott, to where you're playing, you're coming in at a certain point, you start getting acclimated to what you need to do. When you're not in the rotation, that's when it's hard. When you don't know when the coach is going to call your number, all of a sudden, you're sitting there for 4 or 5 games, you don't see the floor, and then all of a sudden, the 6th game, the whistle blows, he says, hey, 35, get in. You're like, wait a minute, you talking to me? I ain't seen the floor, but that's when it's hard. But when you're coming in at a certain time, and you know that at the 5-minute mark, you better be standing there at that at the table stretching, it gets a lot easier to play.
It does indeed. All right, great road win for the Kings on Saturday. And here's something that's interesting. So they beat Utah. They sweep Utah this year, go undefeated against the Jazz. They go into Houston. They beat the Rockets. They finished the season undefeated against Houston. They're in Dallas tonight. They have a chance to sweep the Mavs. They're 2-0 against Dallas. This is a pretty good road trip in terms of how they matching up against teams that they've played well against.
And another thing, Scott, is that they're going up against another team. How many times? I wish I would have started counting.
Yep.
How many times have we said the Kings are going up against another team that's undermanned?
That's right. And this Mavs team is completely undermanned. We'll have that Ginger and Hammer injury report coming up later in the show, but it's more about who is playing versus who isn't playing tonight. And speaking of Mavs, we'll get into this throughout the show too, but how about this? With everything going on with the Dallas Mavericks right now, they've raised ticket costs, citing investments in teams,
really,
in the team and the fans. So we'll get into that as well. That I can only imagine how that's going over in Big D right now.
Scott, I thought they were still giving money back from people who was like, I want my money back because Luka's not playing.
I know, but now it's gone to season ticket increase.
And I'm going to have to make a phone call. I haven't had a chance to talk to my buddy Jason, man, because, I would love to know where his psychic is.
Oh, man.
Because think about this. He goes from having a championship team, putting everybody together. You get Gafford, you get Lively, you get P.J. Washington.
Yep.
You know, you have your 2 stars and Luka and Kyrie Irving, and that's working. People said it wouldn't work.
Right.
You got that to work. You
Western
look like
Conference championship.
You look like a very good ball club, and then the storm hit, the perfect storm. All right, they trade your number 1 guy. That's got to put you in a tailwind, right?
Yeah.
That's like going up in the elevator and pressing the 5th floor, and all of a sudden the cable snap. Exactly. You just plummet, right? But then you say, okay, we get AD. And then you start thinking about, we can rebound from this. We can make this work. AD comes out and he gives you big time numbers. You see him playing with the team. You're like, all right, we there. And AD go down. I mean, I know he has to have an ulcer somewhere.
No doubt. There's a lot of Pepto-Bismol.
Hey, you know, milk of magnesia, Malanta. I know he got some type of contract, man, but he has some type of stomach issue.
There's no doubt. All right, we'll talk about that and a lot more. We'll take your phone calls as well. Again, we're up and running in our YouTube chat. We'll get there during the breaks. As we go to the break, though, we've got to talk about our new sponsor to Game Night, Howard's Gumbo. High Flyer, I know you're a big fan.
Oh, big time, man. You know what? They're not open today. I don't
Thursday
think.
through Sunday. We got to get them open 7 days a week.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you, because if they were, the catfish platter would be on my list.
High Flyer's favorite. Check it out. They're open Thursday and Friday, 11 to 8. Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 8. Located 2120 Marconi Avenue. Howard Gumbo. Proud sponsors of Game Night. We'll be back with more right here. Sacktown Sports 1140.
All right. We are live on YouTube.
All right. What do we got going on, Anthony?
We got some people just excited for a 4th win in a row, maybe.
I tell you what, I mean, Kings are rolling a little bit right now, and I have to say it's a little unexpected. I mean, with everything going on and the way Sabonis went out on Saturday, for them to get that win in Houston, that was pretty impressive.
That win was really impressive. I was having a great time watching that.
How about that start to the game? They go up 19-3, and then they never looked back. I mean, sure, Houston made a couple of runs, but I mean, the Kings held their lead throughout.
You know, I was very, very, very impressed about how they went about that win.
Yeah.
You know, because like you said, you see Sabonis go out early and you're like, oh,
yep, it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem. But it wasn't that. You know, the Kings still played their style of play. You know, hey, maybe hats off to Doug Christie, because maybe he really got those guys together and said, you know what, nothing changes. Nothing changes. JV, You're in the lineup now. Everything still's the same. You guys go out and you play exactly the same way. You play with intensity. You play hard. You match whatever they bring out there.
And that's when you know you're becoming a good team, right? When it's just next man stand up, and it's the culture that carries you regardless of who's on the floor.
You don't miss a beat. The guy steps in and you keep going. You keep doing what you have to do. You know, we said this a couple of times when the Rockets came to town. We was like, yo, they play on another level. Everybody brings the intensity on that squad. We didn't say that the other night.
No,
The Kings matched their intensity straight out the gate.
They did. What do you think's going on with the Rockets right now? Obviously, they were a team early on that took off. They were right behind Oklahoma City in the standings for a while. Now they've fallen back. They're going to be outside the top 4 right now.
Scooter, every team watches film. Every team scouts. Every team tries to figure out, okay, what did they do that hurt us so bad, and let's fix that. So I think it's the situation to where Houston came out. They had some success. What they did, everybody bought into it. Now it's about, okay, so do you guys got counters now? Because we know what your number one move is, but what about that counter? We're going to cut off that number one move. We just seen that twice already.
Yeah.
So we're not going to let you come in here and just beat us with that third one. So teams are definitely scouting them a little bit better.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's not like it's been awful for them. I mean, they've gone 5-5 in their last 10. But certainly they're not playing at the same pace they were before. And they're a younger team too, and I guess that's to be expected a little bit.
And every team goes through it. Every team has the lows. Every team has the ups and downs. You just don't want to have that drastic drop. You're going to lose some games.
Yeah.
You know, that's the NBA. No team goes over. You know, no team wins out. So, you know, to drop some games, it's fine, but you just don't have that big 7, 8, 9 game drop.
No doubt. All right. Anything else in our chat, Anthony, that we need to go over?
Someone said Luka's going to light up the Kings tonight, so I think he's missed a little bit of what's gone on in the NBA. So
we need to get him out of the frozen cage.
Yeah, I think so. But other than that, that's it. We got about 15 seconds
All right,
before we go back on.
Perfect. Welcome back in the game night right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140. Scott Marshall on with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Game night brought to you by our good friends at Power Business Technology. Experience for yourself how the power of family can help you with all your business copier needs. Give them a call today, 1-844-POWER-BZ, or go to powercopiers.com. Kings and Mavs tonight, season finale of the 3-game set. Kings have won the first 2, including just a couple of weeks ago in Dallas. We'll break that down. Henry, we want to get your thoughts. We were talking about it in our YouTube chats during the break. Kings got off to that great start, 19-3. They did it without Sabonis.
Right.
You know, they set the tone. And even though Houston made some runs, the Kings were able to hold that lead, and they just never really looked back in that game. Doug Collins, who of course was a great player in the league. He was maybe even a better commentator, you know, when he was doing games for a long period of time. He always said that the NBA is a first quarter league. The first quarter is what sets the tone that teams build off of. We saw that Saturday. Do you agree with that in general?
You know, he might be a first quarter guy. I'm a third quarter guy.
Okay.
Because I think the third quarter really sets the tone, because you start the game, you never know what's going to happen. You know, you don't know who's going to be warm, you know, who's hot, who's not. I really think you play that first half, and now you get to judge. Now you go in at halftime and you get to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
And when you come out in that third quarter, you have to execute what you just talked about at halftime.
No doubt. Interesting. I kind of agree with you. Third quarter seemed to be a little more important how you start that third quarter with that second half. But, you know, obviously Doug Collins,
and I'm like,
I'll listen to what he has to say.
Me too. I'm like, even if you're down, Scooter, let's say you go in and you're down 20.
Yep.
That third quarter, if you do what you have to do and come out and make some of the right adjustments, let's say you just drop it 10, right? You just cut into that 20-point deficit. You cut 10 points. You're in the fourth quarter and you're down 10. That's a whole different ball game.
It is indeed. All right, let's get into this story a little bit more. The Mavs today announced they're raising season ticket prices for next year.
Yeah. Oh, no, wait. Next year.
Next year.
Okay. I thought they did it this year.
Season ticket prices are going to go up about 8.5% next season. And the increase is, quote, due to ongoing investments in the team and fan engagement.
I was about to say, you know what? They only got one statue outside, huh?
Yep, Nowitzki, right?
Okay, they're not going to tear Dirk down.
No, Dirk's safe.
But I tell you what, if they had anybody else out there, they'd be tearing it down, because the Luka thing is still too fresh.
Exactly. I'm going to say the timing of this announcement is pretty
come on,
curious,
Scott.
right?
It's still soft, dog.
Exactly. How does that go over in Big D?
Right. It's still soft.
Like a big lead balloon.
Bro, if you ever want to lose your fan base, and they got a great fan base.
They do. A very passionate fan base, as we've seen, right?
Right. A very passionate fan base. If you want to lose your fan base, you just let go of a once-in-a-generational type player less than a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now you talk about, oh, fellas, check this out. We're raising prices next year. I mean, you got fans saying, give me back my season ticket money.
Yeah.
You still got people like really just holding a queue. Give me my money back. And the first thing you're going to put out is, we're raising ticket prices next year.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if you go through the story, there's some levels where they're saying ticket prices will actually go down based on secondary market prices, blah, blah, blah. But the headline is overall increase 8.5%. And again, just the timing of that with everything else that's gone on.
You know what?
Feels like it's poor timing to me.
Who's running their PR?
Don't know.
You know what? That person needs to be traded. Whoever is running their PR, because I would have said, we might not want to put this out.
Yeah, I think we might wait. Hold off on that one.
Like right before preseason, we're going to say this, because now ain't the time.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that one. Speaking of Luka, obviously he won't be there in Dallas tonight. But the Lakers just continue to roll, and you know, they haven't missed a beat. Luka steps right in. They've won 8 of their last 10. since Luka's been there. And I tell you what, the combination of Luka and LeBron, it's looking pretty good.
LeBron is rejuvenated.
They're in the number 2 spot in the Western Conference right now.
LeBron is rejuvenated, and it makes him look like a genius because, of course, he's the one that orchestrated that trade.
Yeah.
I want this guy. I want that guy right there. I believe if he comes here, we can turn things around. We can make the Lakers great again and put them back on top. And he's done just that.
No doubt. And they brought over Luka. It seemed like it was for the future, and it is. Obviously, he just turned 26, AD 31. He'll be the face of the team moving forward for the next decade. But to your point, with LeBron, the way it's going right now, it feels like the team of now. I mean, they've beat the Clips 2 straight. This is a team that is only looking up at Oklahoma City right now.
Right. I mean, they're playing very good basketball, and they got 2 guys that's good enough to carry them to wherever they need to go.
Yeah, which seems like it could be right into a Western Conference Finals. We'll see about that, but it certainly has worked out. And obviously for the Mavs, things haven't worked out as of yet. Still a little bit to be determined with injury, but AD not being available has certainly put a cloud over the whole trade.
Man, let me tell you, that just derailed everything, Scott. You know, like I said earlier, it was a hard enough gut punch to take losing Luka, but you get AD back and you say, okay, this might work. You throw AD out there and he gives you a hell of a game. And you're like, all right, this might not be that bad. We might be able to bounce back from this. And then all of a sudden he goes down.
Goes down.
It's like you lose Luka for nothing.
Exactly. All right. We know the Kings will be playing an undermanned Mavs team looking for their second straight win in Big D. We'll go through all of that, but when we come back, we're going to go around the league, some news and notes to get you caught up with as well. Some ejections last night in that Oklahoma City San Antonio game. We'll talk about that. Kevin Durant saying that the Suns, quote, embarrassed themselves versus the Wolves. What in the world is going on in Phoenix? We'll touch on that and a lot more. It's game night right here. Sacktown Sports 1140.
All right, we are live on YouTube.
All right, what's the latest? Somebody wrote in it. They're talking about the ghost of Luka.
Yeah, there's maybe, and that's a valid thing. Maybe the anger of the fans are going to get to everyone. There's someone.
Would you pay ticket in price increase if you're a Mavs fan?
I think I would be. I don't know how I could have felt. Like I thought about that the day of. I'm like, I can't imagine the feeling of that blindside. Like we had the Fox thing, and everyone kind of it boiled up,
Yeah.
And that was like a different kind of falling out. It's a whole different thing when you have a superstar who wants to be there, and you don't know that anything's going to happen, and he's 25 years old and takes you to the finals. I don't know.
Well, and here's the thing with the Mavs right now. I mean, they could be a team on the outside looking in. I don't think they'll fall out of a play-in at 32-29, but I don't see them winning a lot of games until they get everybody back. I mean, I give Jason Kidd a lot of credit. They've been competitive. They've won 6 of their last 10. They've been holding on, but this is a team right now that, I mean, could be last spot in a play-in.
Yeah, the missing players that they have are a huge deal. They
incredible.
Basically don't have a center.
No.
It's rough where they're at right now. I am very impressed with how they've been playing without all these players. And we'll get to it later, obviously, but yeah, it is very impressive that they're doing this.
It is. I mean, Henry, Jason Kidd's getting everything out of his team that he can.
Yeah. I mean, he's pulling every string.
He is.
He definitely still got a Herculean player in Kyrie Irving. I've always been first team on Kyrie Irving. I've always said that he's been top 5 point guard in this league for a long time. A lot of people thought Kyrie Irving was done and he was over with when he first came to Dallas. And I'm like, this dude is still the guy. And he showed us that. And really, he showed us that he could not only be the guy, but he could take a second seat and say, okay, Luka, this is your team. I'm going to play off of you. And they made it work.
They did. It's impressive. It is indeed. But right now, they just don't have the talent.
They don't.
No.
I mean, he has to be everything. They still got a couple of players, but when you lose basically your front court,
yep,
the whole front court is gone. When you lose all of those guys, you're playing small ball.
Right.
They're playing 6'6" and under. And after a while, it can work if you're scoring at a big time rate. But if you got any type of team that's going to be hitting the boards, playing any type of a physical game, you're going to lose. You're playing a 6'6" and under squad.
Yeah, it's just too much to overcome. No doubt about it. As great as Kyrie is, and he is great, he can't single-handedly do it every night for sure. All right, what else we have going on in the chat? Anything else?
Someone said that they're going to cheer Fox, which is nice to see.
Okay.
So they're talking about that. We got about 8 seconds until we go back on there.
Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Kings and Mavs coming your way at 5:30 tonight. Kings live pregame at 5 o'clock. Henry and I will take you up until then. Game Night brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of luxury vehicles at mbofstockton.com. By the way, we're going to be down later in the month on the 26th. Kevin and Kyle are going to be broadcasting live from a Stockton Kings game on March 26th. That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah,
nice.
We might have to sneak our way down for that as well. It's always fun going to a Stockton Kings game. I got a chance to do a game last year. A lot of fun.
I went down there to a game. I didn't broadcast, but I definitely went down there and I watched.
Yeah, good stuff. It's good entertainment for sure. And the Kings, they've been competitive down there in the G League. All right. This week, as we know, the Kings, after going to Dallas, they go to Denver. They come home for the big Spurs game. They're in Fox Week. Who would have thought at this point, just a week ago, that it'd be De'Aaron most likely playing and Sabonis definitely not playing in the game on Friday night?
Do you really think D can come back and play?
I feel like it.
I think he might shut it down.
Hey, who knows?
Yeah. But anyway,
we don't know.
I'm a De'Aaron fan.
I know
so,
you are.
Whatever he does, I mean, the situation's over with. It's done. It's in concrete. It's in stone.
It is.
So, however that young man's career go, I wish him the best.
Yeah.
But not when you walk into G1. I hope you're the biggest turd on the court and, you can't hit a free throw.
And we'll see how the fans react on Friday night as well. That'll be all part of it. So as you look at this, the Kings have 2 more games on the road. They're 2-0 on this trip. They got the Clippers back on the road on Sunday, but everybody's talking about that Spurs game. But bottom line is you just got to get wins. It doesn't matter if you were to lose to the Spurs, but you win your 3 road games, you're still looking good for the week, 3-1 overall.
Right. But Scott, I'm still in this mindset of I can't even think about the Spurs right now.
Yeah.
You got to concentrate on Dallas.
You do. Absolutely. One at a time.
You have to concentrate on Dallas, and you have a hell of a chance to walk in there playing a team that's limping and come out with the win. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's like, taking candy from a baby. I don't care if it's like elderly abuse. You go in there and you win that game.
Yes, you do. All right. And we'll focus in on that game in our next segment upcoming. We'll have our Ginger and Hammer injury report and everything you need to know about Kings and Mavs. Right now, let's go around the league a little bit. The Suns last night losing to the Timberwolves at home 116-98. Kevin Durant speaking afterwards, his quote, "We didn't play up to our standards at all. We embarrassed the fans and we embarrassed ourselves the way we played. I want us to be better." So obviously the frustration is just building and, overflowing in Phoenix right now. A Suns team, again, as we've said many times, that some people thought might be the best team in the conference going into the season. Right now, they're 28-33. They've only won 2 of their last 10 games. They're 4 games out of the final play-in spot.
My question is this. Why haven't it worked?
That's a great question. I mean, you could say the big 3 haven't played enough together, and certainly that was the case last year with Beal, Booker, and Durant. They've played more games together. I think the bottom line is that big 3 isn't a good enough big 3. We know how great Booker is, and Durant certainly is too, but Bradley Beal, in my mind, isn't part of a big 3.
Okay, so he's the loose nut then.
I think so, and he's been hurt. He's not a point guard. They brought in Tyus Jones. Even with that, it hasn't really stabilized things. The bench isn't good enough. They gave up on Nurkic. They don't really have a center. That's all I can really figure out on this. What do you think?
I mean, even when you look at the big two, you look at Book and you look at KD.
Yep.
I would think still, Coach Bud, hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Could still get some players around them to where they would have been not in the number one spot, but at least being
they should be a playoff team, right?
Right. To at least be competitive when you have two players like that at your disposal.
Absolutely. A Hall of Fame player for sure, and a guy who's trending towards having a Hall of Fame career.
Right. It's kind of like the same thing that Jason had to do with Kyrie and Luka. Yeah, you got two guys that can definitely hold it down for you. So now you got to go get a couple of guys to sprinkle in and say, you know what? We don't need nothing big from you. We just need you to help.
Yeah, it hasn't been enough. And I mean, this season feels like a lost season right now for the Phoenix Suns. I mean, I guess they can make a run at a play-in, but they're really going to have to pick it up. I mean, 33 losses already.
They're going to have to pick it up quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about one of those teams to where you almost have to win out for them to be able to be in even in the talk.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Time is expiring on them for sure. And, if you look at the box score from last night's game too, you look at the numbers in this game and it's just, I mean, Durant gives you 26 and you get 17 from Booker, 18 from Beal. So your big three, okay, they're okay, but
that's still underperforming for Book.
It is underperforming. But then you look at the other two starters are Nick Richards and Bol. Okay. And off the bench, Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn, Mason Plumlee.
No disrespect to Bol.
Right.
Because he gave us buckets when he came.
Yeah, we've seen him play well. Yes.
He gave us buckets. But, we know how it feels to have your big three playing or your big two playing.
Yep.
And then, the rest of your core in the starting lineup underperforming. It's tough to win basketball games.
Very tough to win games. All right. How about last night? Spurs and OKC. They mix it up. 3 ejections in that game as Kenrick Williams, Julian Champagny, Jeremy Sohan, all given double technical fouls out in that one. And then right after that, OKC took right off and blew San Antonio off the floor. And Spurs were ahead at halftime in that game.
Well, when you lose those two, okay, Wemby's already gone.
Yep.
When you lose those two, okay, what you have left? Chris Paul and De'Aaron.
Yeah.
You have 2 point guards.
Stephon Castle.
And Castle. And you have the number one offense and pretty much the number one defense at your disposal. You should take off and just blow those guys out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But OKC, they just continue to win. I mean, this team, 49-11 now. They're 23-7 away from home. And they just keep making the case they're the best in the West and maybe the best team in all of basketball.
And it's crazy, Scott. 3 years ago, they were a joke. 3 years ago, they were a joke. Just drafted Chet. He wasn't playing. Shea still was there doing his thing, but couldn't win a basketball game. Made a couple of trades, added on a couple of more draft picks, and this team has really shot off like a rocket.
Been amazing. SGA, most likely the MVP, especially if the season ended today. All right, games today. Warriors are in Charlotte. So there you go. You've got Steph Curry taking on his brother Seth. Del Curry broadcasting that game in Charlotte. Warriors.
It's gonna be a Curry thing.
It's a Curry trio back there. Trailblazers in Philadelphia to take on the Sixers. Joel Embiid has officially shut it down for the remainder of the year.
That hurts because all of their aspiration, hopes, and dreams walk out the door with that dude.
Yeah,
because it started and ended with him. He was the guy they were building around. He was the guy that said, okay, that he's going to galvanize all these guys and get them together, and he's going to be the one that do it for us. Well, he walks out the door. There goes your hopes and dreams.
Yeah, biggest disappointment in the league. There is no doubt about it. And really, No other team that can compete for that honor this year. Wizards and the Heat. You've got the Hawks and the Grizz. Rockets are in OKC to take on the Thunder tonight. Pistons and Jazz. And, of course, the game we are most interested in, the Kings in Dallas. We'll break it all down. We'll get you to the Ginger and Hammer injury report when we come back. It's game night right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
All right. We are live on YouTube.
All right. What do we have, Sir Anthony?
Someone said a lot of early games tonight, and I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a busy night in the league, quite honestly.
Yeah.
You've got Warriors in Charlotte right now, Philly, that game's underway right now as well. Wizards and Heat will get started. Hawks and Grizz, 5-5. Yep, the latest game tonight's in Utah, so there's no West Coast game tonight.
Interesting. So there's also someone who was talking about like we talked earlier, that would you do the season ticket increase prices? And I don't think anyone agrees that they would do that. And that's so rough that's happening.
It's bad PR, man.
It's everything that's going on.
Pouring some salt into that wound, man.
It's so bad.
That is hard to understand how that came out today. I don't know. I mean, teams release at different times. I've heard anything from the Kings on season ticket prices, right? I mean, this is just something unique to Dallas, right?
Someone said something about Kings season ticket prices. They didn't give an exact price, but
okay.
I assume
what I was wondering is, do all the teams release their season tickets for next year in terms of increase or what they're doing for next year at this point?
It's probably
Dallas had to or something like that.
Yeah.
It just seems rather odd that Dallas would choose to do that right now, unless it was kind of like a league policy or something like that. I don't get it. But anyways, let's see here. Henry, let's talk a little Warriors. This is a team that just continues to play good basketball. 32-28. Steph Curry goes for 56 in a game last week. The Warriors, to me, are a team that, I mean, could very well get into a top 6 spot now.
Okay. I can agree with you on that. I still don't think they're championship or bust.
Okay. Let's just run through this. If you're looking at the Western Conference right now, okay, and again, don't know matchups, but would you take them in a series against the Clippers? I think I would. I think I would right now if they were the matchup. Kawhi's getting healthier, but
he's the X factor.
Yeah.
If you have a healthy Kawhi, no.
Okay. Rockets.
Yes, I think they got. I think basketball IQ and being there, know what it takes, and done that. I'll give them past the Rockets.
Grizzlies.
No.
Okay.
Denver. No.
Lakers.
No.
Okay. And Thunder, of course not.
No.
So there may be a first round team.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Fair enough. But they really have turned it around. There's no doubt about that.
No, Jimmy Buckets coming over has definitely, Jimmy Buckets did for the Warriors kind of the same thing that Luka's done for the Lakers. Just rejuvenized some of the other players into where everybody's playing good basketball now, and they're starting to win some games.
They are. No doubt about that one. Let's see here. In terms of the Kings tonight, without Sabonis and obviously Valanciunas starting, do you see more playing time for Trey Lyles, or how else will that match up on the front line tonight?
Seeing that they're playing a bunch of guys at 6'6",
yeah, maybe not.
Trey Lyles might give a little bit more run.
Might get more run than Valanciunas.
Right.
Yeah.
Might get a little bit more. Depend upon, once again, Scott, how they utilize Big JV down low.
Yep. All right. Welcome back in the game night right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Game night being brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. If you have a heart of service, you want to do something good for a child in our community, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, please, I encourage you to check this out. There's so many kids in our neighborhood and our community that need an outside volunteer mentor in their lives. Maybe they come from a single parent household, could use that responsible influence in their life. That's what Big Brothers Big Sisters does. If you're interested, go to bbbs-sac.org to find out all about it. bbbs-sac.org for all the information on that. All right, Kings and Mavs tonight. It's time for a Ginger and Hammer injury report. If you're ever in an injury just called gingery. And with our report, bring it over to Anthony. Anthony, I'm going to turn the floor over to you tonight. You've got some time to fill here.
Yeah, there's quite a bit going on with Dallas, and we got some stuff going on with Sacramento as well, which kind of
Let's hear it.
Unfortunate.
We do have Sabonis. We're going to lead off with that.
So for Sacramento, or we lead off with Dallas,
whatever you want to do.
All right, we're going Sacramento first because we all know Sabonis is out with that left hamstring injury. Something interesting is we talked about Isaac Jones earlier. He's not listed on here as a G League assignment, so he's been called up. As I assume. So we might see some Isaac Jones minutes tonight, which is exciting. Devin Carter is still on assignment, and Isaiah Crawford is still with the G League team. Then for the Mavericks, Anthony Davis is out, Daniel Gafford is out, Derek Lively is out, Caleb Martin is out, and PJ Washington is out. That leaves Moses Brown and Dwight Powell as the bigs for the Dallas Mavericks.
And they just signed somebody else to like a 10-day contract as well. Trying to remember who that was. Maybe it was.
Is that Moses Brown?
Might have been Moses Brown who they signed to
I
a
think
10-day contract. Yeah. But obviously there is a vacuum in the middle in Dallas, High Flyer.
Big time. And, if you're the Kings, you definitely want to take advantage of the mismatch. And I think that when you look at rim protection, they don't have much. So I know Doug wants to get up threes, like the rest of the league. But I would definitely take a look at driving to the rim and seeing if you could just really solidify something down low.
Yeah, no doubt. They've got to take advantage of it. And they certainly have a great opportunity to tonight. Pretty similar to what we saw last time they were there. It wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. I mean, they were still undermanned then. So, one of those situations to where take advantage and take, a book and say, look, this is where we can beat these guys. Go to it. Check it out, see if it's there. And then if it's not, the three-point shot will always be there, Scooter.
Yeah. Of course, the last time it took overtime for the Kings to win that game, right? 129-128. And it was an incredible performance by Kyrie in that game.
Kyrie balled out. He really did. And when you look at what the Kings got going, I think Debo has been solid. Zach's looking a lot more comfortable out there on the floor. We need to find Malik Monk. I think Malik Monk has definitely taken a step back as far as, being that almost number one guy, because even when De'Aaron was here, Malik was still taking that, that mantra and just going up higher and higher. And he was our number one guy. But I think now he's taking a step backwards. So we need to try to get him back going and get him feeling good.
No doubt. And obviously DeMar was incredible in that game against Dallas last time, had that season high 42 and just carried the team at the end of the game.
Yeah, he did. He just put the team on his back and said, okay, fellas, give me the ball. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to will us to a win.
Yeah. And, and speaking of Malik, obviously a lot's been put on him. Probably the trade of De'Aaron Fox has been the toughest adjustment for Malik Monk. Right now, he is the true point guard. We've seen him run the point even when De'Aaron was here, but it's kind of like for Doug Christie, being an assistant coach and then moving over a couple of inches and being the head coach. It's a night and day difference.
Oh, believe me, yes. It's a lot more pressure when you become the guy.
Yeah.
So I would say that I would say the trade really affected Malik. I would say the trade really affected Keegan. But seems like Keegan is starting to feel his way.
Yeah.
We're starting to see him raise his head every once in a while and say, okay, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I like that out of him.
Yeah.
And if we can get Malik Monk back to rolling the way he was with DeMar, with Zach, we're looking pretty good.
No doubt. Are you concerned about the turnover amount from Malik?
Yes, because I think Malik's turnovers come from him trying to do just a little too much.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, Malik, still be yourself, but slow down and, survey instead of saying, okay, I'm driving the basketball. You have to take what the defense gives you. You can't all of a sudden say, well, I'm going to drive to the basket or I'm going to run a high pick and roll and I'm going to get to this spot. Well, if they cut that off, you have to take a different route. You have to make something else happen. Maybe you got to drive and kick. Maybe you got to pick, then re-pick. It's just different ways to get things done.
No doubt. All right. We know Kyrie is a major problem. He was a huge problem for the Kings last time out. Again, he almost single-handedly won that game for Dallas, finishing with 30 points. What about guarding him tonight? What can the Kings do differently than what they did in February?
Scooter, I don't think you guard Kyrie the same way you can guard Steph. Both of them are very dynamic point guards. I think Steph is a little bit more three-point oriented. I think Kyrie is so slick with the basketball. His handles are so wicked that even if you run a double team at him, he has enough ability to split the double team. He has enough ability to back up and then be able to get around guys. And then, he's very adept at getting to the rim and scoring.
Yeah, he is.
So he's a different type of monster, man. So I think for Doug Christie, the coaching staff, and the Sacramento Kings, you just try to make it as tough as you possibly can on him because he's going to score.
He's going to score, and you can't let Clay get too hot from outside.
Right. Now, Clay is a guy to where you want to run off the three-point line. You are putting so much pressure on him. You make him pump fake, take that dribble and get downhill, or pump fake and take a couple of dribbles and pull up. You don't let him come off, catch, and shoot.
Yeah, and they did a little bit too much of that last time. He had 5 threes in that game.
Right, and he was able to do that, but that has a lot to do with, once again, who's guarding Kyrie on the ball. If Kyrie beats his man, let's say he splits the double team, well, either you're going to let Kyrie get to the basket or you're going to help, and you kick out the Clay to where it's just catch and shoot.
Yep.
That's the worst possible thing you can do.
It is. There's no doubt about that. And it will be interesting. I'm assuming Keegan's going to see a lot of time on Kyrie tonight.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Which is a tough matchup. I mean, tough matchup for anybody. For anybody.
Right. This dude, first ballot Hall of Famer.
No
I'm sorry. And if you got to go out there, you got to guard him. He's not in his prime, but he's definitely not over the hill because he's still very, very effective at what he does.
All right. Jay Kidd well. What do you think he's telling his team about tonight's game and how to play the Kings?
Go out and play hard. Go out and play hard, and especially if you can turn the Sacramento Kings over, they will give you the basketball.
That's the key.
And you will be able to be in transition and get easy buckets.
Yeah, and they forced a lot of turnovers against Sacramento last time out. That was a big problem for the Kings.
If you can come out and turn the Kings over, you got a chance.
Yeah, Kings had 20 turnovers last time they played.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that's something, obviously, it's a work in progress with the Sacramento Kings and something that just has to continue to get better.
Right. And if you can get the Sacramento Kings into a up and down 3-point shooting contest, then they're playing at your best because we don't have any bigs. So if the Kings want to come down and just try to match Dallas, light it up from 3, mano y mano, they play right into Dallas' hands.
No doubt. And remember, this was the time we saw the big 2, right? Sabonis and Valanciunas were unveiled for the first time in Dallas. We won't see that tonight, but we're definitely going to see more of Jonas.
But I will say, give the ball to JB early and often.
I still want to see him, like you've been clamoring, get more on the post.
That's what I'm saying. Give him the ball early and often. Let him go to work down low.
All right, that's going to do it for Game Night. Again, Game Night being sponsored by our good friends at Howard's Gumbo. High Flyer, I know you're going to sneak over there. You during Kings Live pregame, a lot of times you go out and get some food and stuff. You might just be, it won't be tonight because they're not open tonight, but I'm sure you'll be making some runs over there.
You know what? It's an exit and a half away. It takes me about 3 minutes. I jump right on the freeway, past Arden, past El Camino, make a right there on Marconi. 2021, right there on the right-hand side.
You got it, man. Howard's Gumbo, proud to have them as a Game Night sponsor. Open Thursday and Friday, 11 to 8. Open Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 8. Go check them out. High Flyer, it's always great to work with you and have a great call tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right, Kings and Mavs, big game for Sacramento tonight because, again, they can win the season series against Dallas. And just as importantly, they can put a little distance between them. They have one less loss, and you kind of start looking at the loss column more than the overall at this point in the season. So they could get up 2 games in the loss column, and they would have all the tiebreakers against the Mavs. So a huge game for Sacramento tonight. Also a chance to get a winning road trip. There's nothing wrong with that for the Kings who have a winning record on the road. They're 16-14 on the road. Put that in comparison, just 15-14 at home. All right, coming up next, Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross is here with the High Flyer. 5:30 tip tonight in Dallas. G-Man with the call. Keep it tuned all night long. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies